When you're the only gentle adult in your child's life, focus on these three things. My name is Jodie Thornton, and today I want to talk about what is so common in this generation of parenting is to have one parent who is really focused on gentle parenting or conscious parenting, respectful parenting, responsive parenting, all of the kind of more progressive styles of parenting, and the other parent either is involved in your child's life but not on board with more progressive styles of parenting, or maybe the other parent is just not actually that checked into parenting a little or at all. Maybe all of your extended family members are not bought in, maybe even your child's educators, or even the adults of their friends, the parents of their friends. Like, all of these places can be we can really be surrounded by adults who just don't believe in it, or just don't believe in it as much as we do. Don't believe that it's as powerful or as much of a priority as we do. And this is such a common experience at this stage in the evolution of parenting as it is, and particularly it's really common experience in the evolution of how we actually accept and understand our emotions and how healthy our communication skills are, and also how healthy our culture is, because our culture is definitely in the process of change, but at the moment we still have a lot of toxic aspects to our culture. So we have, we have quite a lot of racism, quite a lot of misogyny, quite a lot of gender discrimination. We've got all of these different ways, and so many more. We've got all of these different ways where our culture is actually really unhealthy, and that impacts the parents and adults that are around, and also it impacts our kids, right? And so because of this, it's really common experience to be the only person in your child's life. And a quick shout out to anybody who's watching now who isn't actually the parent. You're an aunt, an uncle, family friend, grandparent, foster parent, any person who has some kind of influence in a child's life. If you're watching this, I really appreciate your effort as well. So let's talk about what we need to do if we are the only gentle adult in our child's life. So the number one thing we want to do is shift the way we think about what creates a healthy child. So if you listen to the current parenting advice, it sounds like what we need to do is create a perfect environment for our children. So we only surround them with people who are healthy and baggage free, or at least capable of managing their own baggage. We only surround our children with people who understand childhood development. We make sure that we are managing our own triggers so they're not impacting our parenting. And we create a healthy environment. We send them to good daycare providers and good schools. We send them to places that are really healthy and constructive. Now, I don't know anyone who has all of those things. I don't know a single person who has all of those things in place. And I'm sure there are some people who have sufficient privilege that they can do that. But it's actually not very achievable in the current evolution of culture, right? That's number one thing. The second thing is that it's actually not necessary. What is necessary is that our children learn the skills they need to understand their own emotions, to be able to communicate healthily with people, no matter whether those people have baggage or don't. And they need to be able to understand baggage and unhealthy cultural things. So do they understand their own baggage and their own triggers? Do they understand how to have boundaries and also be considerate of other people's baggage and triggers? Do they understand how to notice what is an unhealthy part of our culture, and how do I actively make sure that I don't buy into that and harm other people or myself in the process of kind of absorbing those toxic parts of the culture? These things are all skills, all of them. And you can learn those skills in an extremely healthy environment. You can also learn those skills in a less than ideal environment. You also only need one person to be able to do all of these things, right? This is what we need to be focusing on, is actually the process of learning. So if you're the only gentle adult in your child's life, rather than focusing on how do I make sure that they get the like an ideal childhood, what we're looking for is how do I make sure that they have awareness of their own emotions. They know how to speak up for their own emotions. They know how to understand why their emotions are valid. What are their emotions telling them about what they need? These are all just skills about emotional awareness. We want them to learn communication skills. How can they speak up assertively so they're actually assertive but kind in their delivery, right? How do they do that without pushing over into selfishness? How do they be considerate and compassionate of other people without getting into people-pleasing territory? Again, these are all just skills. We don't need to have perfect demonstration or modeling of those skills around your child in order for them to learn these skills. And that last piece around understanding the skills around baggage and culture and knowing, like, how do I stay true to my own values? How do I even know what my values are, right? Like, all of these things are actually skills, and we don't need a perfect environment for us to be able to build these skills. So that's our number one thing, is shift your focus on how do I create an ideal childhood for my child into how do I make sure my child has emotional awareness, communication, and baggage and cultural skills, right? That's what we're looking for. That's our number one thing. Our number two thing is to know that one adult is enough, just one, right? And I would even go so far as to say that that adult could be like a book. You know, like, it's great that you are the adult for your child, but I also want to say that it doesn't actually need to be someone who's directly involved in their life. The closer they are to the child, the better, absolutely. But we only need like one source of truth that is helping them to see that their feelings are valid, that there is a way to communicate healthily, that there is a way to handle their own baggage, that there is a way to recognize, like, what about our culture is not okay with me, and how do I make sure I don't participate in that. We only need one source of truth to come to your child for that. That means you are enough. 100% you are enough. And I want to acknowledge that, of course, if you had your the child's other parent who was on board, if you had extended family members, if you have educators and friends, you know, close connections with the community, if all of those people were on board, it would 100% be easier. It would 100% be faster. In fact, probably 700%. But it absolutely would be easier for you and easier for your child, easier for you to do the teaching, but also easier for your child to learn because they're learning from multiple sources and they're seeing things modeled from multiple sources. Of course, it would be easier if we had everyone on board. But if you don't, you are enough. Now, if we focus on those skills, then you can get it done in as little time as you have. And I mean that genuinely. If you just focus on what is the next skill that my child needs, how do I help them learn it in a way that makes sense for them individually, in a way that is realistic in the circumstances our family is in, and you just keep going, right? And you will get there. I promise you, you are enough. You can do this no matter what else is going on. And then the last thing I want to talk about is actually expecting progress. And this is a tricky one because when you talk about, like, say, for example, we might have some baggage around am I enough, right? Or I'm a bad parent, or I'm powerless, right? If you've got so many people who are not on board and you feel powerless to parent in the way that you want to, any of these ways that our baggage comes up, when we vulnerably share this with other people, whether that's people you know or whether it's parenting experts, the response is often, don't you see how well you're doing? You cannot expect everything to be perfect. This is hard, right? And those things are all very validating and they are true to an extent, but what they're trying to do is help us feel okay with something that we don't believe is okay. So if you feel like you are not enough as a parent, I've obviously just told you that you are enough. Just you will be enough for your child. But if the reason that that trigger is coming up is because you know that your child is really struggling to be a team player, or your child is really struggling to be a friend that is actually considerate of what their friends want and need and be able to play in a way that works for everybody. If your child's really struggling with that and that's triggering you, and someone says, don't worry, you're doing such a great job, and you can't expect everything to be perfect, right? You're missing a chance. You're absolutely missing an opportunity to help your child build the skills. And so I want us all to move away from this idea that being a capable, competent, and confident parent is not achievable. It 100% is achievable. I am not yet at a place where I think I'm done learning and growing. I still have some skills to refine, and I definitely still have baggage that comes up that gets in the way of me being the parent that I want to be. But I'm at the point now where I have a consistent, reliable process that I go through where I notice what's not yet working the way I want it to. What is the thing that is next, right? So if you imagine that child who is struggling to be considerate as a friend, if we focus first on how to be considerate of what's going on with the friend, and we haven't yet made sure that our child is actually connected with their own feelings and their own needs, we risk pushing them into people pleasing, right? And so the first skill is actually getting connected with their own feelings. Why are they being inflexible with their friends? The second skill is actually about having consideration for somebody else and problem solving together, right? So if we think that when we're really focusing on our own parenting, we need to make sure that we're focusing on what is the next skill, the most efficient path from where we are to where we want to be, right? And I want us to shift out of this idea that being the parent you want to be is not within reach. Like maybe it's not within reach because it's not humanly possible. Some people talk about it's not humanly within reach because if we weren't raised with it, we're never going to be good at it in ourselves. And none of that is true. Absolutely none, right? We are capable of getting there, and we want to see that the things that we're doing to improve our parenting, we want to see them working, right? We want to see what my focus is on this skill next. I know what to do that will work for my child as an individual. And when I'm doing it, I can see that it's actually paying off. I can see that my child is building that skill. I can see it in real time. I'm not investing now in if I just do it right now, I won't be able to see it now, but I will see it when they're an adult. That's not what we want. We want to be able to see right now, how is your child doing at being considerate but not people pleasing? How is your child doing at speaking up for what's important to them without doing it rudely or with doing it with so little information that the other person can't really be considerate of what it is that they need? These are all practical things that you can see in real time that your child is building that skill. So that's really important for me, that we start to shift out of this idea that parenting is parenting the way we want to, parenting in alignment with our values, being a skillful and capable parent is out of reach. I want that to stop. I want us to start talking about what are the skills that I need to build for myself and what are the skills I need to build for my child so that we can actually get to a place where we will be the parent we want to be. Now, I often will say that I do believe I will be able to get to be the parent I want to be. I'm not 100% sure that once I get there, I won't expand what that definition will be, or that the culture will move and we'll actually have more of an understanding of what's even healthier than our current understanding of gentle parenting. That all might happen. But for everything that I can see now that is my goal of being a parent, I know I'm capable of getting there. And I have not yet met a single parent who is not capable of becoming the parent in the vision that they have of what a good parent is. I've not met a single one. Maybe you're my exception, but I don't think so. I genuinely believe that all of us are capable of becoming the parent that we want to be. All it takes is building those skills. So if you would like my help to get you to that place where you at first feel confident that you are going to be the parent you want to be, and second, that you are actually on the path, on an efficient and effective path to get there, then come and join my Confident Connected Parenting course. In this course, I take you through actually deciding what is the priority, and you get to talk to me about your priorities. So you can say, this is what's going on for me based on the goal setting module. I think that my first priority should be this, but I'm a little concerned that maybe it should be this or that. What do you think? And I will give you personal feedback on what I can see would be the most efficient path to achieving the goal that you have for yourself. I then take you through, how do you build those skills? How do you build emotional awareness skills for your child? How do you build communication skills for your child? How do you build like a dynamic that is based around teamwork, both between you and your child, but also your child and their siblings, or your child and their friends, your child and the other adults in their lives, right? Your child is capable of, instead of taking a power struggle approach, walking into these relationships with a teamwork approach. At an extremely young age, your child is capable of that if you know how to teach them, right? And I also take you through how to handle the baggage that happens. So both your baggage and triggers, and also if your child has already picked up some beliefs that are not healthy, or some beliefs that are like limiting their view of themselves, or how capable they are in the world, we have a whole process of how to unpack that. And as well, we have a whole process on how to unpack what is unhealthy in the culture, how to identify what doesn't feel right to your child, what is an unhealthy way of interacting in our culture, how to make sure that they stay strong in that in themselves, no matter what everybody else is doing. All of that is included in the course. The modules take you through step by step, one piece at a time, but take you through all of it. You'll understand why we do each piece the way we do it. And at every step of the way, you've got time to ask me questions in the live calls, and also in the Facebook group, where you can come in between the calls and say, this is what I'm working on and I'm a little bit stuck here. Most of all, we can make all of this work within whatever practical circumstances you have. So if you only have a certain amount of time to dedicate to learning, or you only have a certain amount of time to dedicate to changing your parenting practices, we can find a way to make that work, right? This course is all about taking the situation that you have and working through that in a realistic way, and in a way that takes account of your personality, your children's personalities, and also your values. So that's a real thread throughout all of the modules, is making sure that you are being true to your parenting values all the way through. So if you would like to jump in and join that course, the link is jodithornton.com/confident connected parenting. And if you have any questions at all, please do reach out. I'd love to help you, and I'd love to see you join the course. I really want to see more parents actually like smiling when they say, I am either on the way to being the parent I want to be, or I am the parent I want to be. That's something that I really want to see happen more in the world, and I know that it's possible, and I'm so excited to help you get there. Thanks so much for watching.